This is a lot of books. This is a lot of books. This is either the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. I'm gonna go with the best thing ever. Hi everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rochelle. I have a problem with pretty books and I have a disability, and today this has been such a long time coming, but this is our very first book haul of the year and of January, and I'm so excited and also a little bit nervous to go over all the books with you. But we're gonna do it. But yeah, we have a variety of books here. I have some book mail, I have some books that I got from a small bookstore, as well as books that I got for my birthday, and then I also have books from Bookoutlet because they had a lot of really nice sales and I personally could not resist going and getting them. So with that being said, this might be a very chunky video, so grab your tea, maybe get a snack, get anything cozy, maybe a cozy blanket, and let's hop right into it. All right, so first the books that we're gonna go through. If you haven't seen my video from Christmas and Vlogmas and everything like that, I did get a bunch of books from my fiance. He decided to do an Advent book calendar for me, which was so amazing and so much fun to go and unwrap each book every single day. And so if you haven't seen that video already, no worries. I will go through some of the books that I got there, and then we will hop into a lot of the other books. So first off, I have Horrid by Katrina Leno, and I love the cover of this one. We know that I kind of have a thing for photos of a person with some sort of plant involvement in the photo. I don't know what it is, but it's just really creepy and gives me Poison Ivy vibes. And Poison Ivy is one of my favorite DC comic villains, and so this definitely brings me a lot of joy. But I'll also read like the first sentence of the synopsis. I don't think I will go and give you a huge description over the book, otherwise this will probably be a video that's almost 2 hours long, so we won't do that, but I'll at least read 1 or 2 sentences from each book just so you have an idea of what the book is about. So it says, following her father's death, Jane North Robinson and her mom, Ruth Ellen, moved from sunny California to the dreary, dilapidated old house in Maine where Ruth grew up. All they want is a fresh start, but behind North Manor's doors lurks a history that leaves them feeling more alone and more tortured. This sounds really creepy and I'm so here for it. Like I said, I love the way the cover looks and I can't wait to rearrange my bookshelf so that we can fit this one in. Bunny by Mona Awad. This was another one from my Advent calendar from my fiance, and it says, a scholarship student who prefers the company of her dark imagination to that of most people, Samantha Heather McKay is utterly repelled by the rest of her graduate fiction writing cohort at New England's elite Warren University, a clique of unbearably saccharine yet sinister rich girls who call each other Bunny and seem to move and speak as one. I've heard so many good things about this book. My matron of honor has also read this book and raved about it, so I'm so excited to go and dive into this one as well. Aphrodite Made Me Do It by Trista Matier, and this one is more of a poetry type of book, so it will be a very quick and fast read. I do have a soft spot for poetry. I used to always go to poetry slams when I was in college, so I do have a very soft spot to go and read some of these things, and I've heard that this one is really good, so I can't wait to read it. Follow Me to the Yew Tree by Desiree M. Nicolai, and it says, for centuries, Erin has traveled alone across Ireland with nothing but visions from death and a compulsion to warn people of their impending doom. This one is a really thin novella, and I heard that there is disability representation in this book, and so this was one that I had added to my list and my fiance decided to pick it up for me. The Girl in Red by Christina Henry. This one I think I remember finding on a booktuber's channel, and she was talking about how much she loved this one, and it says, it's not safe for anyone alone in the woods. There are predators that come out at night, critters and coyotes, snakes and wolves. I believe this one, yeah, it says, from the national best-selling author of Alice comes a post-apocalyptic take on the perennial classic Little Red Riding Hood about a woman who isn't as defenseless as she seems. I love post-apocalyptic, dystopian type of books. They are just my bread and butter, my guilty pleasure, and especially with how things have been going lately, I feel like this will probably be one of my female rage type of books that I'll probably pick up, so I can't wait to read this one as well. Then we have Loot by Jennifer Thorne, and this one says, on the idyllic island of Loot, every 7th summer, 7 people die, no more or less. Loot and its inhabitants are blessed year after year with good weather, good health, and good fortune, despite the war that rages all around them. So it's only fair that only 7 years on the day of the tithe, the island's gift is honored. This also sounds right up my alley. I honestly couldn't remember originally having this on my wish list, and then reading the description of it, I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I'm excited to read this one as well, and I'm already kind of categorizing some of these books in piles of like, I need to get to this ASAP, and then I'd like to get to this soon, but some of these a little bit sooner. So I'm very excited already to dive into these books. I have The Crescent Moon Tea Room by Stacy Savinsky, and first of all, let's take a moment for this cover because it is so cute, so cozy, and it says, ever since the untimely death of their parents, Anne, Beatrix, and Violet Quigley have made a business of threading together the stories that rest in the swirls of ginger, cloves, and cardamom that lie at the bottom of their customers' cups. Their days at the tea shop are filled with talk of butterflies and good fortune, intertwined with the sound of cinnamon shortbread being snapped by laced fingers. This sounds so cozy, and to be honest, I'm looking outside right now and we have snow, and I feel like this book would just be so much fun to curl up in a blanket, have a cozy cup of tea, and just dive into. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but that's kind of like my ideal reading setting for this book. Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. This one, the cover is just so interesting. I feel like when you look at it, you kind of discover something new every single time. But this says, prepare to die, his kingdom is near. 17-year-old trans boy Benji is on the run from the cult that raised him. The fundamentalist sect that unleashed Armageddon and decimated the world's population. Desperately, he searches for a place where the cult can't get their hands on him, and more importantly, on the deadly bioweapon they infected him with. Holy crap. This just feels like another really great example of a book that I'm kind of in the mood to read. I have a very weird way of escapism where dystopian and apocalyptic things and horror are just the things that I really like to dive into when I'm feeling emotionally underwhelmed and a sad episode, or just doom scroll. So this might also be a book that I add to that list. Then I have Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati, and this one I believe I've heard maybe from Gemini Pages how much she loved this one. I know she really loves Greek mythology, and a lot of the recommendations that she talks about on her channel I really want to pick up, and this one is a little bit of a chonky boy, so this will be a fun read to get to. So it says, as for queens, they are either hated or forgotten. She already knows which option suits her best. You were born to a king, but you marry a tyrant. You stand by helplessly as he sacrifices your child to placate the gods. Oof. Greek mythology is always one of those really interesting reads where there's kind of like revenge, or someone was done wrong, or misled, and there's just such great stories and deeper meanings that come from reading those books, so I'm excited to dive into this one. Only and Forever by Chloe Leese. I have never read any of the books from the Bergman brothers, but I have heard that all of the books in the series have representation of some sort, and representation is extremely important to me, especially in the books that I read. I think it's so important to go and diversify your bookshelves. So with this one, you can already see that it has one of these patches on here. And this one says, Viggo Bergman, hopeless romantic, is thoroughly weary of waiting for his happily ever after. But between opening a romance bookstore, running a romance book club, coaching kids soccer, and adopting a household of pets, just maybe he's overcommitted himself. Viggo's chaotic life has made finding his forever love seem downright improbable. Ooh, this sounds really interesting, and I do love the way the cover looks. Last book that I got from my advent calendar from my fiance is Beautiful Darkness. I'm just not going to try. I feel like I'm really butchering that. But this is a graphic novel. It really has like darker themes in the images. And I've heard a lot of people say that this is really good, but also very dark. So I think I'm going to hold on to this one for a certain mood that I'm in. Then we have Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory Maguire. As you know, Wicked came out last year, and I remember I read this book when I was probably in elementary school, and to be honest, I think I was a little bit too young at the time to read this to fully comprehend a lot of the deeper messages and a lot of things that were going on. This is a book that is a lot darker. Not necessarily that the movie is very positive. It is a difficult movie as well, but the book itself touches on darker themes and goes more in depth in certain things. So definitely check your trigger warnings before reading this book. I just really wanted to go and dive into this book, especially being an adult that's 29. I feel like I'd have a better comprehension of what is going on, and I really couldn't resist going and getting this special edition of the book with the green sprayed edges. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this one, and then after, go and read the rest of the books in the series, because I think there's around 4 total if I'm not mistaken, so I'd really love to read all of them. And then the last one that I received for Christmas was The Knocker. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but it's by Heather Carson. So with this one, it says, when portals were built to cross over to the spirit realm, humans flocked in droves to escape their earthly existence. Now the ghosts of what once was are all that remain for the few souls who cling to life in the abandoned world. The realm is a magical place where vices are plenty and rules are scarce. I believe this one is also a dystopian book, and my job, they were doing Secret Santa. And I was like, okay, what kind of books do they have listed that are within the budget for Secret Santa? And this was one of them. And I just thought, since it said like dystopian, I was like, sure, we'll go and try this one out. It's also a very thin book, so this will be a very quick read. Now we're gonna get into all these other books. And starting off with this one, Sujin Witherspoon, and it's Bingsu for 2. This one was some book mail that I received. I'm a part of NerdFam, and there was an email going around with some of the books that were going to be coming out soon, and I forgot what the publisher, oh yeah, Union Square & Co. is the publisher that was sending out the books if you got approved. They were the ones that determined whether or not you'd get one. So I was very excited when I got this because I was not expecting to get any sort of book mail. And so this is actually technically the second book mail that I've received from a publisher or being a part of some sort of creator program. Meet River Langston Lee. In the past 24 hours, he's dumped his girlfriend, walked out of his SATs, and quit his job at his parents' cafe in spectacularly disastrous fashion, even for him. Somehow he manages to talk his way into a gig at a failing Korean cafe, Bingsu for 2. This is so cute, and I believe this is an enemies to lover. I am trying to get into romance as I kind of discovered that I am enjoying it a little bit more than I thought, so I'm very excited to go and pick this one up and read it. I've heard that it is so cute, and I'm so excited for it. I also was kind of walking around through Target, and I was like, you know what? I deserve to get myself a little birthday treat for myself. And so at the beginning of the month, I got Stephen King's The Shining. This is a book that I've really wanted to read for the longest time. And so I was very excited when I saw this version of it. I actually do kind of like the cover, even though there's a screaming man in the snowstorm. But this is the first time I saw this cover and this version of this book. So excited to go and pick it up, and I really hope that I can read it this year. So it says, Jack Torres's new job at the Overlook Hotel is the perfect chance for a fresh start. As the off-season caretaker at the atmospheric old hotel, he'll have plenty of time to spend connecting with his family and working on his writing. I've only ever watched the movie for this book, so I've never read it, and I'm so excited to go and finally get my hands on it and dive into this book. Then one of the goals that I had, I believe at the end of the year for the year of 2025, was to actually get more books in a series and complete series. And so I have the first book in this series by Penn Cole. The second one is called Glow of the Everflame, and I won't go and read any descriptions of this one because I don't want spoilers for you or me. But it says, I am your sword, point me at your enemies and watch them all fall. That's just like the little quote that's on the back. I feel like that's not diving into spoiler territory. But yeah, I decided I wanted to pick up this book as well. I've heard good things about the series, and I believe it got picked up by a traditional publisher, which is really amazing. So I'm so excited to go and read this book, and it's a bit of a chunky boy too. And then I also got some book mail from some of my dear friends for my birthday, and so I'm gonna go through those ones as well. This one is Gray After Dark by Noel W. Hilly. I don't think I'm saying that right. I apologize. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this one, but my dear friend Kat from Curious Cat ended up going and sending this book over for my birthday, and I was so excited. So it says, when a tragic accident sidelines Miley's dreams of Olympic gold, she takes a summer job at the Mountain Guest Lodge. The Frank Church wilderness is remote, but it's the perfect place to train and recover. Local lore about a staffer who died years ago doesn't scare her, but it should. I'm so excited to read this one, and the cover is just so creepy and scary, and I'm so excited. So thank you again, Kat, for this birthday present, and for any channels that I go and mention in this video, I will also include their information down below. Please go and check them out. They're all amazing people, and I'm so glad for BookTube to have connected me with all of them. Then I got another present from one of my book besties, and that's Once Upon a Bookish Steph. She actually sent me a gift card to go and get a birthday present for myself, so I decided to pick up The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. I absolutely love Darcy Coates, and so this is one of the book series that I haven't read of hers yet, and I'm so excited. It says, she hears them whispering, homeless, hunted, and desperate to escape a bitter storm. Kira takes refuge in an abandoned groundskeeper's cottage. Tucked away at the edge of the cemetery, it's surrounded on all sides by gravestones, some recent, some hundreds of years old, all suffering from neglect. And in the darkness, she can hear the unquiet dead whispering. Oh, this is so cool. I can't wait to read this one. And then I also picked up this book as well, and it's Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley. I wanted to really go and pick up some books that are written by BIPOC authors, and I've heard good things about this series, but I wasn't able to get the first book when Bookoutlet had their sales, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and pick this one up. So it says, 10 women, a deadly contest, only one can win the Sun King's heart. Lore has endured 12 long years of torment under the Aurora King's rule. Her only desire is to escape and pay him back for every moment of misery she's endured. When a surprise release finds her in the hands of the rival Sun King, Lore is thrust into the spotlight as she competes against 9 other tributes for the role of queen. If she wins his heart, she'll earn her freedom and finally get her revenge. Oof, this is going to go into like my female rage pile, and I'm really excited to read this. I'm just in a certain mood for certain books, and yeah, I can't wait to go and read all of these books. And also, thank you again, Steph, for these books. So excited. So I actually got my hair cut. I didn't include any video or footage or anything of it. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, I've heard about a bookstore that is fairly close to this hair salon. So I did some wandering around, and I am going to be going to this bookstore a lot in the future because, number one, support your local bookstores, but they had this one horror section, and I did get a little bit of footage inside the store, so I think I'll have it in a vlog from January. But I got 3 books. So the first book I got was She Left by Stacey Gray, and this one says, 20 years ago she survived, now she's fighting for her life. On the night that changed everything, Amy Brewer walked out of a house party, trudging angrily away from her friends who made her feel like she didn't belong. Within the next hour, all 5 of those friends would be dead. I believe I had someone that talked about how much they loved this book because I had a screenshot of the cover on my phone. And so I'm very excited to go and pick this one up. I haven't heard too many people talking about it, so I'm excited to see what it's all about. Then we have another Darcy Coates book. This one is called Hunted, and it's thicker than The Whispering Dead. It says her disappearance wasn't an accident. Her rescue will be a mistake. 5 days after Eileen Hirschberger went missing on a hike through the remote Aslo forest, her camera was discovered washed downriver containing bizarre photos taken hours after her disappearance. But with no body and no additional clues, finding Eileen in the dark in winding woods seems next to impossible. Oh, I can't wait to read this one. Darcy Coates is just one of my favorite authors. Her books are just so good at getting me hooked, and they always go by so much quicker than you think they would, especially when they're thick like this, so I can't wait. And then I have Hex by Thomas Old Hoevelts? Probably not saying that one right either. Hi, Finn. But this one was another one that someone on TikTok who actually now has a booktube channel. I'll go and include her information here and down below. Her name is Bree. I can't quite remember what her channel name is at the moment, but I know she read this one and she said that it was so good. And it was also only $10 at the bookstore. Some of the books that I got were on sale, which helped convince me even more that I deserved a little treat for myself. So it says, whoever is born here is doomed to stay till death. Whoever settles never leaves. Welcome to Black Spring, the seemingly picturesque Hudson Valley town haunted by the Black Rock Witch, a 17th century woman whose eyes and mouth are sewn shut. Muzzled, she walks the streets and enters homes at will. She stands next to children's beds for nights on end. Everyone knows that her eyes may never be opened or the consequences will be too terrible to bear. I believe she said this one was really creepy but really good, and I'm so excited to read this one. I was very excited when I saw it in the horror section. Like, the horror section of this bookstore just had so many different books that aren't like overhyped and always talked about, so I had an amazing time just looking through all the books that they had. So I am supposed to have more books from Barnes & Noble. I had a book order that was supposed to get delivered today, and it seems like with the snow and a lot of the weather stuff going on, it's probably not going to get here until Monday. So that might have to be in a separate video or separate little haul, even though I'm kind of planning for this to be the last official book haul I have in a while. But from Barnes & Noble, I got this book and I had it pre-ordered. So let's go and open it up. Almost got it. So it's been so difficult because a lot of these books I pre-ordered and was so excited for them, but I had to leave them in boxes so that we could open them together. But this one is Dating and Dragons by Christy Boyce. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive. So with this one, it also includes some special content, and it's the purple cover instead of the turquoise cover. My one thing that I'm a little bit upset at myself for is I found out if you would have bought this book in the store, you would have had a D20 gift as well. And so I'm a little bit upset about pre-ordering it, but I really wanted to get my hands on the book, and it's sometimes difficult to go to Barnes & Noble because it's so packed. But anyway, I love my copy. I already told you I read Dungeons and Drama, and it was so cute. So after I finished that, I was like, okay, Dating and Dragons. And I feel like it's kind of like me and my fiance in a way. He has brown hair. I have brown hair that I usually have in a braid. And it says Quinn Norton is starting over at a new high school and hopes that joining a D&D game will be the trick to making friends. The plan sounds even better when she's invited into a group that includes Logan Weber, the cute and charming guy she met on her first day of class. But this isn't your average D&D campaign. This group live streams their games and enforces strict rules. No phones allowed and no dating other group members. Oh gosh, I'm really excited for this. And I love all the detail in the cover. It's so good. I can't wait to read this one. All right, then we're gonna go into Litjoy. So a lot of these books I had ordered a while back, and then they finally ended up going and getting delivered kind of around the same time, which was perfect. So we're gonna open them up. I'm not quite sure which box has which book, so this will be a surprise for both of us. So first one we have here is Forged by Blood, Book 1 of the Tainted Blood duology. And I can't quite remember how to pronounce this author's name, I apologize, but this is a special edition. So we got these sprayed edges on the side, and I believe that there was a special deal for getting the first and second book together. And since I hadn't heard too many people talk about it, I was like, okay, I would love to go and pick these books up and read them. So, ooh, let's also look at the rest of the stuff for this book. So there's nothing in the dust jacket, but the book itself has this really pretty cover. I love the detail on that. And then the end pages. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm curious. And then let's see what the back end pages are. Ooh, that is so pretty. Oh, that is pretty. And then we have the author's signature in it as well. So let's see if we can get a little bit of a synopsis of this one. Ooh, we also have a map. So that's really pretty. So I'm not finding a synopsis of it right away, but there is an author's note, and I feel like I'm gonna read that instead. So it says, just taking a snippet of it, because I'm not gonna read the full thing. It says, I wrote Forged by Blood to be a story of hope, one that doesn't flinch from the difficulties of life and the complexities of the heart, but says firmly that no matter what, hope is an act of revolution. I think that's a beautiful way to give a little snippet of this book. But yeah, she is absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to read her, because like, look at that. So pretty. I found the synopsis. It's on the dust jacket that I took off of the book when I was showing you the details of it. So, okay, we'll read this so you actually have a different idea of what the book's about. In the midst of an authoritarian regime and political invasion, Demi just wants to survive to avoid the suspicion of the non-magical Ajis, who occupy her ancestral homeland of Ife. To escape King Sorensen's brutal genocide of her people, the darker-skinned, magical-wielding Aluso, and to live peacefully with her secretive mother while learning to control the terrifying blood magic that is her birthright. Ooh. Okay, add this to our female rage pile. And then I have book 2, Exiled by Iron. So this is book 2 of the Tainted Blood duology, and wow, that cover looks really cool. And then we got the sprayed edges. And I won't be reading the synopsis for this one since it is the second book, so we don't want spoilers there. But also, look at how beautiful this cover is. Oh my goodness. And then, in pages, the art is so beautiful. And then there's this one. I can't wait to read this book. I feel like I haven't heard too many people talk about this series either, so this will be really fun to go in without having any prior expectations, knowing that someone enjoyed it or didn't enjoy it. And she will look beautiful on my bookshelves. Alright, next box from Litjoy, The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. And I haven't read books by Holly Black in a hot minute, but I do remember she really does accurately write stories about the Fae and them being tricksters and some of the things that they do. So I was really excited to go and pick this one up. And then some of the images on the book. So cool. And I can't remember, oh yeah, there's art throughout the book, and then I believe, yeah, she also has annotations in it, which usually I'm not an annotation girly, but when it's the author that's writing in the book and talking about some of their thought processes and why they did certain things, then I absolutely love it. Those are the annotations that I'm totally fine with having in my book, because I just love hearing their thoughts and knowing more about their process. And then I also have a signature from the author in here. So I'm very excited to go and read this one as well. And we also have some artwork as well. So some of the images from the end pages. That's really cool. Never Never. And this is a Litjoy special edition by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. And it shows this camera. And then the book slides out like this. And I've never actually read a book by Colleen Hoover, but the premise of this book really intrigued me. And I also love the way that this book looks. So we have these images here, and then here, here. That's so cool. And then the back. So it says, fate is the magnetic pull of our souls towards the person, place, or thing we belong with. I think this is kind of like a mystery type of book. Like someone disappears or someone in the relationship betrays someone. Yeah. So I was very intrigued just by the mystery aspect of this. It also kind of gave me certain vibes for one of my favorite hidden object games, and I think that was what convinced me more than anything that I wanted to pick up and read this book. And then we have this page that has the author's signatures on it. We also do have an author's note as well. So I'm very excited for this. I can't wait to go and pick it up and read it. Yeah, can't wait to read this. This is beautiful. And I mean, like, this is just fun. I haven't seen anything like this. So I'll have to figure out how I want to display this book on my bookshelf because the book itself is also really gorgeous. All right, then we have this big boy from Litjoy. And I'm excited because I've been waiting a hot minute to get this book. Do you see that? It's like in styrofoam and bubble wrap. This is the Vampire Academy box set from Litjoy. And it's finally here, and boy is she heavy. So it should open up. Sure, it's been wanting to open up the entire time I've been holding it, or trying to hold it, but the books are in here. If you've seen my bookshelf tour, you'll know that I have the Vampire Academy series, and it's a series that I really loved when I was growing up, and I've been wanting to reread it. But when I found out that they had special editions coming out, I was like, ooh, okay, I kind of want to get that for nostalgia purposes, and then go and reread the books. So let's go through them together and get a better look at them. And I also got this little printout that came as well with the book, so cool. And these books are also annotated special editions as well. So I probably won't read these ones, but I will definitely be displaying them just so I don't ruin these special copies. But this is the first one. So this is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. I forgot to say that. This is Rochelle Mead's series. And then these are the sprayed edges. And then end pages. So cool. And then, yeah, there's annotations in here. I wonder, does it also have an author's note? It has her signature. Oh, we got multiple signatures. So we have the signature here, and then another signature here. Oh, that's so cool. And then, like, this is a, like, metal that's also into the book, which is so neat. Then we have Frostbite. So this one has this really cool white cover. And then that there. Then the end pages. And then here we go. And then another image. I feel like I can't remember fully who all the characters are because it's been forever since I read them. Ooh, and we also have some images in the book as well. Okay, that's exciting. Ooh. That's so fun. Okay. Then the third book. There's 6 books total in the series, by the way. So then this is Shadow Kiss, which is the third book. And then I feel like the end pages are kind of similar in a way, just with the design and the coloring. Then there's this image. And then the back one. This one's really cool. I like that. And then let's see. What are some of the images in the book itself? Oh, I can't wait to read this. It's been a long time. I might have read them in middle school or maybe freshman year of high school. Can't quite remember. And then we have Blood Promise. So this one is black. And here are some of the images in the book. I can't fully remember who a lot of the characters are. Oh, and this is the one that we got that little print of. And then what are some images in this one? Ooh. So cool. All right, 2 more books to go through. Okay, and then Spirit Bound. So we have another white one. Image here. Ooh, and then this one. This is pretty, like a little masquerade ball type of thing. I don't know if that that could be spoilery. I don't know. I can't quite remember who the characters are. there's that one. So cool. And then the last one is extra chonky. I remember this one, oh, lots of emotions came through. There were pins that you got and they were kind of randomized, but I got a pin for this. I can't quite remember where I put it, but it's somewhere on my bookshelf. But yeah, so there's this cover, and then we got sprayed edges. And then this one is The Last Sacrifice, by the way. And then we got the image back here. And then this image here. And then let's see what one of the photos is in the book itself. I'm not wild about the smell, but I'm also very sensitive with smells. So it'll be nice having this one out of the box and to kind of air out for a little bit. And then we have this image. So cool. Oh, I'm so excited about that. Because like I said, this is a book series that was kind of from my childhood. And I'm very excited to have the special editions of it, but also need to figure out where to put it because it's heavy. And then lastly, we have my Bookoutlet boxes. So we will go through them all and then see how much damage we did. First we have It's Only a Game by Kelsey Yu. And this one says, when Marina Chan ran from her old life, she brought nothing with her, not even her real name. Now she lives in fear of her past being discovered. But when her online gaming team is offered a tour of their favorite game company, Marina can't resist accepting, even though she knows it might put her fake identity at a risk. So cool. These are all the books that I got from Bookoutlet. They had some really great end of the year sales, and then I also had some really great coupons and stuff for my birthday. So yeah, we did a lot of damage, so just be prepared. Then I have 27 Minutes by Ashley Tate. In the stunning and propulsive debut, a town grieves the loss of a young girl, but some fight to keep the truth about her death a secret. The question: for the last 10 years, the small, claustrophobic town of West Wilmer has been struggling to understand one thing. Why did it take young Grant Dean 27 minutes to call for help on the fateful night of the car accident that took the life of his beloved sister Phoebe? If he'd called sooner, she might still be alive. Then I have The Shadows by Alex North, and it says, you knew a teenager like Charlie Crabtree, a dark imagination, a sinister smile, always on the outside of the group. Some part of you suspected he might be capable of doing something awful. I think I've heard a lot of people talk about this book and how much they enjoyed it. So when I was able to snag it up on Bookoutlet sale, I definitely had to click add to cart. Then I have Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. And this one says, 25 years ago, Maggie Holt and her parents Ewan and Jess moved into Bainbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in the Vermont woods. 3 weeks later, they fled in the dead of night, an ordeal Ewan later recounted in a nonfiction book titled House of Horrors. His horror memoir of ghostly happenings and encounters with malevolent spirits became a worldwide phenomenon, rivaling the Amityville Horror in popularity and skepticism. Ooh, this sounds really cool. I'm very excited to read this. Then we have The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I read another book by Simone St. James last year, and I actually listened to it as an audiobook that I got as an ARC, and it was so good. I really enjoyed their writing, but I just wasn't wild about the audiobook, so I was really excited to actually pick up a book that they've written so I could actually read it. And it says, something hasn't been right at the roadside Sundown Motel for a very long time, and Carly Kirk is about to find out why in this chilling New York Times best-selling novel from the author of The Broken Girls. Upstate New York, 1982. Viv Delaney wants to move to New York City, and to help pay for it, she takes a job as a night clerk at the Sundown Motel in Phil, New York. But something isn't right at the motel. Something haunting and scary. This author tends to write a lot of dual timeline books and just does so well with them. So I'm very excited to go and read this one and see what it's all about. It also does seem like the book cover itself has been bent, but given the style of the book and everything, it doesn't seem like too much of an issue and doesn't stick out too much. So very excited for this one. Then we have The 10th Girl by Sarah Faring. A haunted mansion, a family curse, a twist you'll never see coming. Welcome to Vaquero School. Simmering in Patagonian myth, The 10th Girl is a gothic psychological thriller with a haunting twist. At the very southern tip of South America looms an isolated finishing school. Legend has it that the land will curse those who settle there. But for Mavi, a bold Buenos Aires native fleeing the military regime that took her mother, it offers an escape to a new life as a young teacher to the daughters of the Argentina's elite. Ooh, this sounds really good. And I love how creepy the cover looks. Then I have The Hunger by Alma Katsu. And it actually has like a description from Stephen King. Deeply, deeply disturbing. Oh gosh. If Stephen King's saying that, then I think we're in for a wild ride with this book. I also wish that the sticker wasn't here. But it says, evil is invisible and it is everywhere. That is the only way to explain the series of misfortunes that have plagued the wagon train known as the Donner Party. Depleted rations, bitter quarrels, and the mysterious death of a little boy have driven the isolated travelers to the brink of madness. Though they dream of what awaits them in the West, long-buried secrets begin to emerge, and dissent among them escalates to the point of murder and chaos. Oof. You can see I definitely do read a variety of books, but I do tend to gravitate more towards horror and thriller. They're so much fun. But this next one doesn't fit either of those, and that is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I really wanted to pick up this book because I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the banned book list, and I really want to pick up a lot of books that are on the banned list, as well as just supporting more BIPOC authors. You know, based off a lot of my book hauls and my bookshelves, that I try to do a mixture of everything. So I was very excited to pick up this one, and I do love the way the cover is on this one compared with some of the others that I've seen. So it says, a powerful cultural touchstone of modern American literature, The Color Purple depicts the lives of Black women in early 20th century rural Georgia. Separated as girls, sisters Celie and Nettie sustain their loyalty to and hope in each other across time, distance, and silence. Through a series of letters spanning nearly 30 years, first from Celie to God, then from the sisters to each other, the novel draws readers into a rich and memorable portrayal of Black women, their pain and struggle, companionship, and growth, resilience, and bravery. So I know that there are movies based on this book, but I wanted to read the book first before I go and watch those movies, and I'm so happy I was able to go and snag this book, because I feel like every time I had it in my cart, Bookoutlet would automatically sell out of it. This Mortal Coil by Emily Savada. And this one says, Katerina Agata is a hacker. She can cripple mainframes and crash through firewalls, but that's not what makes her special. In Kat's world, people are implanted with technology to recode their DNA, allowing them to change their bodies in any way they want. And Kat happens to be a gene-hacking genius. This is dystopian, and we know I love dystopian, so I'm very excited for this one. I have Zeros by Scott Westerfield, Margot Lanigan, and Deborah Bancotti. And it says, every power has a price. This one is pretty thick as well. I haven't heard about this book before, but I have read the Ugly series by Scott Westerfield, so I did really find myself intrigued by this one. So it says, don't call them heroes, but these 6 Californian teens have powers that set them apart. They can do stuff ordinary people can't. I was intrigued by this. So it might give Suicide Squad vibes, I'm not quite sure, but I'm very interested to check it out. Then, speaking of the Uglies series, I did go and pick up the Uglies, and I'm very excited for the covers of these ones because it looks like I got the versions that I was more interested in getting instead of the creepy body image ones. But I got Uglies, Pretties, Specials, and Extras. This is a book series that I really loved when I read it originally, and I think this is what fostered my love for dystopian before I read The Hunger Games and before I read Divergent. And I've been really wanting to repick these books up and read them again. When I saw that there was a full book set on Bookoutlet, I had to go and snag it up. And after I read these, I do plan on going and watching the movie that's on Netflix. I heard awful things about it, but I really like going and reading books and then kind of comparing the movie and seeing how well the adaptation is. So we will definitely see that on my channel at some point. Okay, I'm really excited about this because I did not think I got a version of this book. So I have Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. I know for sure that this was one that Becca from Gemini Pages read and absolutely loved, so I'm so excited to read this one. This kept getting out of stock on Bookoutlet, and I was so frustrated. I kept going in between hardback and paperback, just wanting a version of the book. So it says, when Princess Atalanta is born, a daughter rather than the son her parents hoped for, she is left on a mountainside to die, but even then she is a survivor. Raised by a mother bear under the protective eye of the goddess Artemis, Atalanta grows up wild and free, with one condition: if she marries, Artemis warns it will be her undoing. Ooh, I can't wait to read this one. I'm so excited. It's probably go in my female rage pile. We'll see. And then last one from this box is No One Can Know by Kate Alice Marshall. And this says, 3 sisters, 2 murders, and too many secrets to count. 14 years ago, the Palmer sisters, Emma, Juliet, and Daphne, left their home in Arden Hills and never returned. But when Emma discovers she's pregnant and her husband loses his job, she has no option but to return to the house that she and her estranged sisters still own, and where their parents were murdered. Ooh, I'm excited. All right, we got 1 box down. Okay, next big box. This box truthfully made me a little bit nervous because it did arrive a little bit more beat up, but I peeked through and the books seem like they're all in fine shape, so I don't think we have anything to worry about. So we have Deathless Divide by Justina Ireland. This is the second book in that one series I was reading where the first one was Dread Nation. This is one where it's different time period and it has zombies in it. I read the first book at the end of 2024 and I absolutely loved it, and I was like, I need to finish the series. I need to know what happens next. So I'm so excited for this one. This one has like a little bit of damage just with some pages being bent and some coloration. Otherwise seems like it's in pretty good shape. So I'm very excited to continue this series because I love zombies. I absolutely love zombies. Then I have Lying in the Deep by Diana Urban. I listened to this one last year as an audiobook and I had so much fun and I really enjoyed it. So I decided I really needed to have a copy of this book for my bookshelf, and yeah, I'm so excited that I have another copy of it. I might end up going and rereading this at some point. No idea. And then I have Ranger's Apprentice, The Ruins of Gorlan by John Flanagan. So Cass actually is someone that loves this book series, tries to get everyone to go and read it. And I remember, I think I either sent her a DM or something where I was like, hey, I'm ordering the first book. And I know she said she was going to stalk my channel, but she's also very busy. But I just had to go and mention that she is someone that loves this series and is part of the reason why I picked it up, especially since I saw that Bookoutlet had it. So I'm very excited to read the series at some point. So The Ranger's Apprentice, just to read a sentence from it, it says, the Rangers with their shadowy ways have always made him nervous, and now 15-year-old Will has been chosen as a Ranger's apprentice. But what he doesn't yet realize is that the Rangers are the protectors of the kingdom who will fight the battles before the battles reach the people. So yeah, finally got the book, and I think there's quite a few books in the series. So this will be an interesting one to go and dive into, especially if I get addicted. Then we have Rule of the Aurora King by Nisha J. Tooley. So this was what I was mentioning earlier, where the first book was not available on Bookoutlet, but the other books were. So I ended up going and picking them up. This is the second book in the series. I want to say maybe there's only 3 as far as I know, but I really want to actually complete series and read a whole series. So my hope is that by getting some of the other books in a book series, it will be a lot easier for me to continue and finish them. Then we have Daughter of Mine by Megan Miranda, and this one was one that I had on my list for quite some time. And it says, the discovery of the first car was a shock. The second car was a pattern, a warning, and the key to a decades-old mystery that may be better off left to the past. Mirror Lake, nestled in the mountains of North Carolina, is a beautiful waterfront community where neighbors know neighbors, family businesses are the norm, and the small-town way of life seems to go on year after year uninterrupted. Kind of have a little bit of a guilty pleasure for small-town stories, possibly because I grew up in a small town, so now that I moved out of my home state, out of my small town, parts of me are like, ooh, I want to read these stories and kind of live in some of the nostalgia from it, if that makes sense. I also have book towers over here. I need to start another book tower. I'm probably gonna like be closed in by all my books. What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. And I know this was a book that a lot of people really loved and were talking about, so I was excited that I was able to snag a copy for myself. Ooh, and there's a little map in it too. Okay, so this one says, Bolivian Argentinian Inez Oliveira belongs to the glittering upper society of 19th century Buenos Aires, and like the rest of the world, the town is steeped in old world magic that's been largely left behind or forgotten. Inez has everything a girl might want, except for the one thing she yearns for the most, her globe-trotting parents who frequently leave her behind. Ooh. I don't really know too much about this book, but I know lots of people really enjoyed it, so I'm excited to go and pick this up when the mood hits me. This one I'll have to go and show my fiance, but I did go and pick this up for him. It's The Tales of Exandria the Bright Queen, and anyone that's a Critical Role fan knows that this is one of the books that they have. I am kind of a critter. I'm still behind in a lot of the campaigns. I'm on campaign 2, and Jester is just one of my favorites. Also Laura Bailey, she's a queen. But yeah, I had to go and pick this up for Charles. I've been trying to get him little books here and there. I got him Caduceus's book for Christmas, so when I saw this I was like, I don't think he has it on his shelf, so I had to go in there and check, but this is his book and I can't wait to give it to him. Then I have Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young. I read The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young and I absolutely loved it. I loved just the way she was writing and the world she built and the magical realism behind it. So after that, I was kind of like, you know what? I want to read more books by Adrienne Young, and I've heard good things about this one. So this says, Emery Blackwood's life changed forever the night her best friend was found dead and the love of her life, August Salt, was accused of murdering her. Years later, she is doing what her teenage self swore she never would, living a quiet existence on the misty, remote shores of Suarez Island and running the family's business, Blackwood's Tea Shop, herbal tonics, and tea leaf readings. But when the island rooted in folklore and magic begins to show signs of strange happenings, Emery knows that something is coming. This sounds so interesting, and I'm very excited to read it. I feel like if I enjoy this book, I might have to add Adrienne Young to my instant buy list of authors, because I really enjoyed The Unmaking of June Farrow, so we'll see how this one goes for me. Then I have book 3, Fate of the Sun King by Nisha J. Tooley. So this is a part of that series that I was telling you I was kind of trying to get the rest of the books and everything. So we'll see how this book series goes. Each one of them seems to be pretty chunky, so I'm excited. Then we have Sunbringer, which is the second book for Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. I read the first one last year and I really enjoyed it for the most part. I loved the disability representation, especially with the limb different main character, and I've really been wanting to continue the series, so I was so excited to pick this one up. I believe the third one comes out this year, so hopefully I can finish this one before the third comes out and then we can continue on with the series. Then I have Storm Siren by Mary Weber. And I will admit part of this was because Siren is on the title. I have been having a mixed relationship with fantasy books lately, so I'm not quite sure when I'll pick this one up, but just so that you get a little bit of an idea of it, it says, as a slave in the war-weary kingdom of Phelan, 17-year-old Nim isn't merely devoid of rights, her elemental kind are only born male and always killed at birth, meaning she shouldn't even exist. This will probably go in like my female rage pile, but you never know, I might end up picking this one up soon because I'm in a certain mood. Then I have A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. I have never seen the cover for this version of the book, and I kind of like this one better than the other versions that I've seen, so I was so excited to snag it. I haven't read anything by T. Kingfisher, but my friend here on BookTube, who also wrote The Solstice Court, Jade Juniper, she loves T. Kingfisher. So I'm so excited that I'll be able to go and read and dive into this author's world. And it says, Mom seems off. Her brother's words echo in Sam Montgomery's ear as she turns onto the quiet North Carolina street where their mother lives alone. She brushes the thought away as she climbs the front steps. Sam's excited for this rare extended visit and looking forward to nights with just the two of them, drinking boxed wine, watching murder mystery shows, and guessing who the killer is long before the characters figure it out. I mean, that's one of my guilty pleasures too, but I'm excited to read this, and like I said, I really like the the cover that I have on my version. Then I have No Secrets by Penny Jolson. This was actually a book that I had on my disability book recommendations. This was one that I heard a lot of people talking about, and so I was very excited to have it on my list. But I'm even more excited that I actually have it so I can go and read it myself. And this says Gemma knows who the murderer is. She knows because he told her. He thought his secret was safe because Gemma can't speak or move. But Gemma observes all kinds of things about everyone around her. His secret is just one of them. And when a new technology means she may be able to communicate and reveal all she knows, Gemma no longer feels powerless in the face of this deadly secret. It's a race against time before the killer acts again or tries to stop her. I'm so excited for this one, and just very happy I was able to snag a version of it. Like, I kind of hit the jackpot with one of the sales because a lot of the books that I've had on my radar and really wanted to read, I was able to go and snag up for the sale and get the really nice discount. Then we have Midnight on Beacon Street by Emily Ruth Verona, and I'm actually surprised with how thin this one was. I was kind of thinking it was going to be a little bit thicker. A suspenseful debut thriller and love letter to vintage horror movies in which a babysitter must overcome her own anxiety to protect two children when strangers come knocking at the door. Ooh, this is really creepy, and I'm excited. I also like that now that I have the book in my hands, I'm able to see more details of the cover. You're probably not able to see here because, like, when you look at it, it just kind of seems like a black box, but in person, it actually does look more like a stereotypical house you'd see in a neighborhood. And then I have some more book recommendations from Brie, and I went and snagged them up as well in this book haul. I can't remember her username, so like I said, it will be down in the description below, but one of them is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. I know she really loved this book so much, and I think it was in her list of top books for the year of 2024. So it says, a black father, a white father, two dead sons, a quest for revenge and redemption. Ike Randolph has been out of jail for 15 years with not so much as a speeding ticket in all that time, but a black man with cops at the door knows to be afraid. Oof. This is going to be a very intense book, I have a feeling, and probably going to be a tearjerker. But I'm excited to have it and actually get to read it. And then the other recommendation from Brie was The Attic Child by Lola J. It says, two children separated by almost a century, bound by a secret. I know she went and said that she really liked this book, but it was very hard to go and describe. So like I said, I'm just going to stick with reading a couple sentences from the synopsis, just so we have an idea of it. A riveting dual narrative of love, loss, and identity centering on two children separated by decades who, bound by a secret, find themselves locked away in the same attic years apart. Ooh, this will be a really intense read as well. And I really do love the cover of it. It's just so pretty and unique. All right, we got one box down. I think there's only one book in this one. Yeah, there's literally only one book in this box. Okay, drum roll please. The Family Across the Street by Nicole Trope. So there's this one. And like, honestly, what a waste of one box. Like, really? You couldn't have stacked more books in that box? Like, luckily boxes can be recycled, but geez. So this is another one I've had on my list to go and read. And it says, everybody wants to live on Hogarth Street, the pretty tree-lined avenue with white houses. The new neighbors, the Wests, are a perfect fit. Catherine and John seem so in love, and their gorgeous 5-year-old twins race screeching around their beautiful emerald green lawn. But today they won't invite you in when you knock. They brush away offers to babysit, and the children hadn't been seen. I've heard that this book is really good as well. I probably got this one as a recommendation from Brie. So just a little backstory, I learned about Brie's account through TikTok, and then she's been trying to go and start her booktube channel and going and posting videos on there and getting used to more long form content. But I feel like a lot of books, especially thriller and horror books that I've read, I've really enjoyed so much, and a lot of them I've gotten as recommendations from her. So definitely go and check out her channel. She's a smaller booktuber, so definitely send her some love. But yeah, I'm excited to read this one as well. All right, third box. This one actually has more books in it. This is truthfully so much fun in seeing all the books that I was able to get. I'm enjoying this a lot, but also yikes. But these books weren't all purchased all at once, just as a heads up. I used multiple different sales, and a lot of the Litjoy ones were ones that I ordered at different parts of last year, so just a heads up that way. I have No One Will Miss Her by Kate Rosenfield. And this one says, a smart, witty, crackling novel of a psychological suspense in which a girl from a hardscrabble small town meets a gorgeous Instagram influencer from the big city with a murderous twist that will shock even the most savvy reader. On a beautiful October morning in rural Maine, a homicide investigator from the state police pulls into hard-luck town of Copper Falls. The junkyard is burning, and the local pariah, Lizzie Olette, is dead with her husband Dwayne nowhere to be found. Ooh. I will admit I'm a little bit of a hit or miss when an influencer of some sort is in a book. I don't know, like sometimes I'm interested and then sometimes I'm not so much, but I am intrigued and I will go and read this one, obviously, since I did go and order it. But yeah, it's always a hit or miss for me sometimes when a character is an influencer. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but I don't know, it's just weird. It's something I'm not always here for. Not So Perfect Strangers by L.S. Stratton. Tasha Jenkins has finally found the courage to leave her abusive husband. Taking her teenage son with her, Tasha checks into a hotel the night before their flight out of DC and out of Cordell Jenkins' life forever. But escaping isn't so easy, and Tasha soon finds herself driving back to her own personal hell. Ooh. This author is also really good, so I'm very excited to read this book as well. I want to say I've heard some good things on it, and then it also is not really a book that too many people talk about, so I'm so excited. Then I have The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. I feel like this is a book that was really popular last year and a lot of people talked about, and so I was very excited I was able to get it before it got out of stock on Bookoutlet. So it says, it's the opening night of the manor and no expense, small or large, has been spared. The infinity pool sparkles, crystal pouches for guest healing have been placed in the seaside cottages and woodland hutches. The manor mule cocktail, grapefruit, ginger, vodka, and a dash of CBD oil is being poured with a heavy hand. Everyone is wearing linen. And yet, just outside the manor's immaculately kept grounds, an ancient forest bristles with secrets. I'm excited. I've heard good things about this one, so I can't wait to go and check it out. And then I have Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I have not read Fourth Wing yet, but I wanted to go and get the next book in the series off of Bookoutlet instead of going and buying it from a more popular store, because I've heard mixed things about how much people did like this book, and I have been really interested in going and checking it out. So I got it from Bookoutlet, and it wasn't as painful to go and purchase it for the price that it's been selling at because of how popular it is. Then I have Lotus, a love story by Jennifer Hartman. This was another recommendation by Brie, and I have a thing for lotus flowers, so I thought the cover was so pretty on this one. And it says, all these years I've never given my heart to anyone. The truth is I didn't have a heart to give. My heart was with a ghost. To the rest of the world, he was the little boy who went missing on the 4th of July. But to Sydney Neville, he was everything. Her heart hasn't been the same since her best friend disappeared, but she's learned to build her life around that missing piece. This one seems more of like a mystery love story, which I feel like would definitely be more up my alley, but I am trying to get more into romance types of stories, so maybe this will be a good segue for me. Then we have A Face Like Glass by Frances Hardinge, and this one, let's see, ooh. It seems like there's quite a few books in the series. Okay, I'm not seeing a synopsis for this one, but vaguely from what I remember, I think in this story a lot of people don't show emotion or mask their emotion, and then one character doesn't, or like doesn't have that same issue that everyone else does, and they're kind of targeted. I know this is a fantasy book. I can't remember if it's thriller or anything like that, but maybe I will include a little bit of a synopsis or something on the screen here. So if you are interested in this book, you can learn a little bit more about it. But yeah, I remember being intrigued by the concept of the story and thinking it was a little bit different from anything I've read and wanting to pick it up. Okay, then I have The Vanishing by Bentley Little. And this says, in Beverly Hills, a wealthy CEO goes on a bloody rampage and videotapes the slaughter. He leaves behind a chilling cryptic message. This is where it begins. Ooh. This sounds really creepy. I just like, when I look at some of the books that I get, I feel like I get different ideas for how to categorize them. Like if there's a cabin on the cover and it's really creepy, or if it's like female rage, dystopian, zombies. I just have like a way that I almost want to sort them. So obviously, given all these books that I have, I really need to reorganize and recategorize my bookshelves. Then I have Small Horrors by Darcy Coates. This is a collection of 50 creepy stories. I also have this one on my list for the horror bingo that Wicked Reading created. So I was really excited to get a copy of it because I feel like I'd have a lot more fun actually reading it in a physical book versus going and reading it on my Kindle. So I'm very excited to go and read this one, and it does look really creepy. And we know I love Darcy Coates, so all right, then last one in this box is Shiver by Ali Reynolds, and this one says, when Mila accepts an off-season invitation to Le Rocher, one of France's most exclusive ski resorts, she's expecting a weekend of catching up with 4 old friends. Though she hasn't seen them in a decade, she's never forgotten the bond they forged on this very mountain during a winter spent fiercely training for an elite snowboard competition. Ooh, this sounds really creepy, and to be honest, this would almost be perfect to read right now because it's snowing a lot in Colorado, and we know one of my goals, reading books involving snow during a snowstorm or while it's snowing outside. So maybe I'll pick this up soon. All right, and then the very last box, and then we're done. Woo! First one up is Bloodmarked by Tracy Dion. This is book 2 in the Legendborn cycle. So I have the first book here on my shelf, but I don't have the second book. And I believe the third book comes out this year. I've been wanting to read this series, and so I figured I'd pick up the second one as well, just so it would make it easier to read through the series. Then I have Hooked, a Never After novel by Emily McIntyre. I have not read any of the books in this series. I know they're like retelling of Disney stories, except the villain is the love interest, if I'm not mistaken. And this one is a Peter Pan type of story. So I was really interested in reading this one and kind of picking up the series. There's a few of the books in the series that I'm interested in and a few not so much. So since I've been wanting to get a little bit more into romance type of stuff, I figured that this might be a good option for me. Then I have What You Leave Behind by Wanda M. Morris. Also, this book feels really nice, and it's very floppy. Just super satisfying. So it says, Dina Wood's life has fallen apart in the aftermath of losing her beloved mother, her marriage, and her prestigious job at an Atlanta law firm. She needs what the Geechee people of coastal Georgia call a day clean, a fresh start. She returns to her childhood home in Brunswick, Georgia to heal. To make peace with her grief, she often drives throughout the country, where she crosses paths with a widower who's fighting to keep the oceanfront land that has been in his family since the end of the Civil War. He threatens her and warns her never to come back. But shortly after, he disappears, and his very expensive property is quickly put up for sale. Curious, Dina digs into his disappearance and finds a family legacy at risk. Okay, so this is a haunting thriller and mystery. Yeah, I definitely have to like reorganize my bookshelves so I can like categorize and put everything together a lot better. Then I have Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. It says, England, 1882. In Victorian London, 2 children with mysterious powers are haunted by a figure of darkness, a man made of smoke. What follows is a story of wonder and betrayal from the gaslit streets of London and the wooden theaters of Meiji-era Tokyo to an eerie estate outside Edinburgh, where other children with gifts, the talents, have been gathered. I've heard good things about this one as well, and I think it's witchy. Also, like the cover, I love that. It's really cool, but I was very excited to pick this one up. Then I have Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, and this one says, One island, beautiful, wild, and strange, Miro Island is a desolate spot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with a mysterious history of shipwrecks, cannibalism, and even rumors of murder. It's the perfect destination for the most adventurous traveler to escape everything except the truth. Ooh. I've heard good things about this one too, so I was very excited to get it. Plus, I feel like I don't have a lot of yellow books on my shelf. Maybe I do. I guess I kind of do, but I like having some of the pops of color on my shelf. And then I have Hot Pot Murder by Jennifer J. Chow. This is a part of that other series that I got a while back where I believe it was like Death and Bubble Tea or something. So I wanted to get the next one since it has Hot Pot listed, and it's just like the perfect hand size. Like it's my hand size. Then I have Revel by Alyssa Mia Smith. And the cover of this one is really interesting. I want to say this was kind of like Moulin Rouge, like a Moulin Rouge retelling, and I love musicals, so I was very interested and very curious. So on the island of Charamont, magic flows like bootleg champagne, and fantasies can be bought for the price of a gemstone. Lux Revel, star of her family's fantastical show, knows the splendor is just an illusion. With prohibition threatening their livelihood, her family struggles to make a living, watering down champagne and patching holes in their sequin costumes. So when the son of Charmont's wealthiest family makes her an offer, all the liquor the Revels need to stay in business in exchange for posing as his girl and helping him become mayor, she can't refuse. Oh yeah, this definitely sounds like Moulin Rouge. I am very curious. I can't wait to read it, and like I said, I really love the cover. It's very kaleidoscopy. I think like I was definitely not in my fantasy slump because some of these books are very interesting. So I have Mark of the Raven by Morgan L. Boos, and it says Lady Selene has come into her family's power, but has she inherited a gift or a curse? Dreamwalker, Nightwatcher, Lady of Ravenwood. Lady Selene is heir to the House of Ravenhood and the secret family gift of dreamwalking. As a dreamwalker, she can enter a person's dreams and manipulate their greatest fears or desires. Soon after the gifting, however, Selene discovers that the Ravenwood women have been secretly using their gift to gather information or to assassinate those responsible for the fall of the House Ravenwood to the Demena Empire hundreds of years ago. Ooh, this sounds really interesting. I might have to show this to my fiance. I feel like he'd be interested in this. Then we go back to horror. So I have Frightmares, Ready or Not by Eva M. Gibson. I feel like this one will probably really creep me out, and it's a thin read. It says, come out, wherever you are. Everything at Frightmare's House of Horrors is fake. The clown mannequins, the cheap replica Annabelle doll, the zombies played by wannabe actors. But the dead body Dave finds is very, very real. Oof. This one's probably going to be really creepy. I might save this one for Halloween. Then we have Bookshops in Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. This is the second book. His first one is Legends and Lattes, and I wanted to get the second book so that I could obviously finish the series, and I'm very excited to have my hands on it because it was hard to get a hold of. Then we have The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, and it says, picture a lovely cottage on a cliff with sloping lawns, walking paths, and beautiful flowers. It's Gabe and Pippa Gerard's dream home in a sleepy coastal town, but their perfect house hides something sinister. Ooh, I'm curious. I really like Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth, and I've been really interested in reading more of her books, and I think I have a few more that she's written up on my bookshelf, so I'm excited to check this one out as well. Then I have Cackle by Rachel Harrison. This was truthfully the copy that I wanted to get my hands on. I kind of prefer this cover over the other one, so when I got this one, I was so excited. It says, all her life, Annie has played it nice and safe. After being unceremoniously dumped by her longtime boyfriend, she seeks a fresh start. Annie accepts a new teaching position and moves from Manhattan to a small village upstate. She's stunned by how perfect and picturesque that the town is. The people are all friendly and warm. Her new apartment is dreamy too, aside from the oddly persistent spider infestation. Ooh, not wild about the spiders, but I believe this is a witchy book, so I will be adding this to my witchy shelf. Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone. So back when I went to Tennessee, I happened to pick up the second book in the series, not knowing that this was the first one. And so I've been trying to get my hands on the first book in the series for the longest time. And I really do love the way that the cover looks. I think it's beautiful. The flowing red hair, the white dress, mysterious figure at the top of the stairs. I just think it looks so cool. And it says, Violetta Graceling would do anything to protect her younger brother, Arian. Plagued by nightmares, he possesses forbidden black magic that spills from his fingers as shadows. When the notorious Rowan Sylvan, known as the Monster of Lake's Edge, discovers Arian's magic, Lita fears the worst. She's shocked when Rowan instead presents a risky offer, refuge at his Lakesedge estate in exchange for Arian's powers. Ooh, this sounds interesting. And like I said, I have the second book, but I didn't have the first book, so now I can finally start the series. When She Was Me by Marley Bush. And I can't read too much of the synopsis because there's a sticker on the back, so I'll try to make do. It says, ever since that night, twin sisters Cassie and Lenora have been inseparable. As the sole permanent residents of Cabin 2, their refuge on an isolated Tennessee campground, they manage to stay away from prying eyes, probing questions, and true crime junkies. Interesting. Another creepy cabin book. The Handyman Method by Nick Cutter and Andrew F. Sullivan. Oh, I'm nervous because it's Nick Cutter. Like, he's a good author, but I had to DNF the troop because I got so grossed out. So we'll see how this one goes. It says, when the Sabin family moves into a rural, unfinished development community, cracks begin to emerge in both their new residence and their lives. As a father wrestling with his unemployment and his uncertain place in the world, Trent Sabin's attempts at DIY home repairs lead him down an online rabbit hole where a paranormal radicalization surreptitiously takes hold as a mysterious instructor delivers dark subliminal suggestions of how to handle any problem around the house. Ooh, I'm curious. Don't Let In the Cold by Keely Parekh. Says, it was supposed to be just one night in the cabin, one night for Lottie and her new stepsister Jade to hang out on their own and try to get along. When a solar flare causes a massive blackout, no power or cell signal, Lottie knows they've got a long night ahead of them. I can't wait to read this. I'm so curious. She Started It by Cian Gilbert. And this says, the party of a lifetime is nothing like what they expected. Annabelle, Esther, Tanya, and Chloe are best friends, or were as children. Despite drifting apart in adulthood, shared secrets have kept them bonded for better or worse, even as their childhood dreams haven't quite turned out as they'd hoped. Then one day they receive a wholly unexpected, but not entirely unwelcome, invitation from another old friend. Poppy Greer has invited them all to her extravagant bachelorette party, a first-class plane ticket to 3 days of white sand, cocktails, and relaxation on a luxe private island in the Bahamas. Ooh. And I believe this one is a thriller as well. Then I have You Won't Believe Me by Sin Balog. Survival is only the beginning. Willow is alone, confined to a bed with restraints. She can't remember how she got there or how long she's been there. An old lady appears in her room to feed her twice a day. Granny doesn't talk, but Willow can hear thumping from somewhere beyond her door. It's not Granny's shuffling steps. It's too loud to be Granny's cat. Is it someone? Something? And then the last one to finish things all off is a romance book. So it says this book is Hot British Boyfriend by Christy Boyce. And it says, how far would you go for love? I actually didn't realize this was a Christy Boyce book. Interesting. After a horrifying public rejection by her crush, Ellie Nicholas does what any girl would do. She flees the country. To be more precise, she joins her high school study abroad trip to England. While most of her classmates are there to take honors courses and pad their college applications, Ellie is on a quest to rebuild her reputation and self-confidence. Nothing is more of a confidence booster than getting a hot British boyfriend. This sounds really cute and like a very fun read. I like Christy Boyce. I read Dungeons and Drama by her, so I'm very excited to read this one as well. And after that, that is the end of the book haul. We have gone through all the boxes, and I am surrounded by stacks and stacks of books. So we're gonna have to figure out where I'm gonna put them on my bookshelves. I'm probably going to completely reorganize my bookshelves and reorganize them. So if that's something you're interested in, please let me know down in the comments below, and I can definitely film a video of it. I also do have a scanner now that my fiance got me for my birthday, so we can definitely go and scan all the books as well. That will be a fun little time. But let me count how many books we had and possibly cringe in horror at how many books that is. So 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 84, 85, 86. Over 86 books. or over 80 books. We have over 80 books. This book haul was a total of 86 books. Oh my gosh. We're starting out strong this year with an over 80 book haul. 86 books. Oh my gosh. Hi. So I stand at correction. So there are more books that kind of fell over from my stack pile from earlier when Kiko hit them. So I actually did an incorrect count. So let's go and count them. So we had 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. We actually have 95 books. So very close to 100. We have 95 books. Like I said, this will be the only book haul that we have on this channel of this amount of books. Probably the last time we'll have, or the next time we'll have a book haul this big will be at the end of the year when there are more huge book sales again. Probably tops the book hauls that we'll have moving forward for the rest of the year might be 20 books or more, but that will only be if I have a sale or a really nice coupon. I am fully planning on reading all these books off of my bookshelf. I do have a series, Defend the TBR, that I am doing where I have a board game and I'm working on reading the books on my bookshelves. So yeah, we will not be doing another book haul where it's almost 100 books because, oh my god, that's a lot. But like I said, it was book sales and pre-order books that just happened to show at the right time. So yeah, now I'm closing out the video. So I actually found more books when I was putting my books away. So we're going to go through them real quick. There's Max Brooks' De-Evolution, and it says, as the ash and chaos from Mount Rainier's eruption finally settled, the story of the Green Loop Massacre has passed unnoticed, unexamined until now. Then I also have Lost Siren by Katerina Martinez, and this says, I'm a mermaid, at least I am in my spare time. I actually spend most of my days giving water aerobics on the cruise ship I work on. And then I have Phantom by Suzanne Kay, and this is a Phantom of the Opera retelling. These were also books that my fiance got me for the advent calendar, and I just happened to not see them when I was pulling everything out for the book haul. So that is all the books that I have. There are no more books, no more hidden books. That's it. That's done. We have 98 books that we're ending this video out with. We didn't make it to 100, but I promise you, no more books are hidden here. Although I did have a book box with 2 books that were supposed to arrive today that are not going to show up until Monday. So technically, that would have brought us to 100 books, but that's besides the point. So yeah, we are going to try to figure out where the heck I'm going to put these on my bookshelves and reorganize and everything. But yeah, see, that is why we utilize book sales, because if it wasn't for book sales, I would not have had a haul this big. And then also tie in the fact that a lot of these were pre-orders that took half a year to get here and just happened to show up at the perfect time for this very huge book haul. And I will probably not do another big book haul like this again unless I hit a huge book sale at the right time. So yeah, if you enjoyed this book haul, please leave a like. And if you cringed at how many books I happened to unbox like I did, and like I'm mentally cringing, please also leave a like. And as always, if you maybe enjoy my videos, seeing a lot of the different books that I haul, I try to diversify my bookshelves the best I can. I read a variety of fantasy, thriller, horror, and occasionally the romance book. So if you like any of that stuff, maybe go and leave a subscribe. I'd love to help you maybe find another book that might be your new favorite for the year. And as always, I'd like to wrap up this video by reminding you that no matter what ethnicity, what color, what disability, who you love, any of that stuff, I want you to remember that you are worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye, everyone. Just so you have an idea of the mess I have around me, boxes, stacks of books, boxes, and then more stacks of books. And I need to figure out how the heck I'm gonna organize all of this. I know this is a lot for us to go through. It's a lot, but we can do it. We can definitely do it. We can go through these books.